Welcome, everyone. This is my first time doing this. We're live here and on YouTube. I won't talk about it too much, and obviously my attention will be primarily focused here on Twitch, and I will be talking to my Twitch chat. But please, 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 if you guys could be incredible legends and really make this first multi-stream all the more special, if you guys could go and check out the YouTube and lurk over there while we're doing today's lecture, that would be insane. That would be huge, actually. So I would deeply appreciate that, everyone. I appreciate it. I already see people over there. Thank you very much. Hi, YouTube. Good morning, good morning. Did I wish my mother happy Mother's Day? No, actually, what I wanted to do is I wanted to text her, because I know she's up. I wanted to text her now that I'm live and see if she'd be okay if I called her. I am live on stream, and can I call you to wish you a happy Mother's Day? Or do you want me to call you later? Bap, 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 bap. Alright. I did a thing? Oh no. He's literally going to both platforms to say hi to herself. So cute. Well, that's an interesting model. Welcome in, Astor the Cat. Sorry, my model's frozen right now because I'm holding my phone at a weird angle. So I'm sorry that I'm not emotive at this exact moment. Because it's funny. Hi, Tommy. Horatius the still. Well, that's okay. All right, let's get that. Okay. All right, hello. Hi, Cathal. Wizard of Memes, hello. Hello, Dubs. He's returned from the stone. Oh, that's why, because my thing wasn't up. Broth, what's cooking? Good looking. Alright, we're good? Yeah. But good morning, everyone. Let me go through it. Good morning, Tubular. Welcome in, Willow, my good dear wife. Hello, Grin, Kisa, Wizlock, Weirdness. Thank you for the sub, my dear, as well. Big Game, Mikey, Wizard of Memes. Cathal. Let's see. Motley Faye. Always a delight to see you, dear. Dreskin, Zegamus. Bob Blazer, Slime Professor. Astro the Cat. Tommy. I think I got everybody. Yeah, Broth. Ogar. Dare you. Your mother. Hi, Mom! Everyone, the person that's name is Your Mother that's in chat, that's my actual mom. Everyone say Happy Mother's Day to my mom. That's the room mother. Hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Warhammer's so big and heavy, it's a counterweight on that, yeah. Hi, Lewis. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Pump. Welcome in. Axe of the Ashen, thank you. Oh, it's my Psychoshi, Lady J Psych. Welcome in. Well, happy Mother's Day. Mom, I'm on Twitch and YouTube today. How cool is that? He's going places. I love you. I love you too, Mom. Yeah, I gotta call the other mom later. Feels like fuck you, bro. Can't believe all mothers were born today. I know, it's crazy. You gonna see your mom later? Good. And to those whose moms aren't around, wish your moms a good Mother's Day as well. Thank you, Grievous. So yeah, let's talk about today, because today's kind of crazy, right? Mars needs moms. Thank you guys for popping over to the YouTube. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but just know that the YouTube is there.
Happy Mother's Day, Willow less than 3.
Happy Mother's Day, Willow. Just skipping me. Hi, Akami. It's good to see you, dear. Thanks. I'm not a mom, but thanks. Okay, I'll have a great stream. I love you, Mom. Have a wonderful day. Get your day in June when I wish you happy Dwarf Father's Day. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Alright. So, happy Waifu Day, Willow. I mean, babe, have you seen? Yeah, you've seen. Is Akami adopted? Basically. You guys have seen the Willow art, right? That Broth did? That shit is fresh to death. No, yes, better? Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up. Did I, like, not save it?
Stone and rock. Wait.
Thank you, Critic. I appreciate it. Take care, Zakamis. Sleep well, my dude. I'm gonna go find Broth's DMs. Oh, did I save this into the slideshow gallery, but not... Yeah, that's what I did. I saved this into the slideshow gallery, but not in my regular fart folder. Looking. No, that's not it. I just resent you. Thank you. I know. Damn. Yeah. Look how pretty my wife is. Look how pretty she is. Hi, Myra. Yeah, Broth drew my wife. She's so pretty. Right? Name a 100. Oh. Mm-hmm. Alright, that's enough simping over my wife. Why most of my favorite VTubers are married? True. Respectfully. And it's an important organization. Yes, absolutely. Of course. Quick chat, what color were her eyes?
Ethan McCullough cheered X100. Get hype trained, nerd.
Thank you for the hype train, everybody. This unlocked me and I drew it. Rock and stone, brother. Welcome in, Captus. Thank you for that. Thank you, Eva, as well. I appreciate all the support, everyone. We got the hype train. I guess we're going to do a song before we do the lecture, which is not normal, but that's okay. Hazel with tints of green. Perry, hello, dear. It's so good to see you. Only the old heads will know Perry. Perry was one of my first good friends that I met in VTubing. It's so nice to see you, dear. Happy Mother's Day. Elf, it's so nice to see you as well. Yeah, we got all kinds of folks in here today. all right, let's sing this song. You guys ready for that? Let's get a little close.
Rockin'
Thank you, Omar. When the stream had start, raised for a hype train, with Horatius the dwarf at twitch.com. From when the dwarf had fought a silver-tongued chatter, his army of mods at his commanded they ban them. They came after me with masterful deceit. They broke down my throne and they kicked in my teeth, while the chatter's words minced our tender schmeat. And so cried the dwarf man, he can't show feet. Toss some bits to your Twitcher, oh chatbox of plenty, oh chatbox of plenty, oh. Toss some bits to your Twitcher, oh chatbox of plenty. At the edge of the screen, fight the mighty spam that stun locks and spurns you and brings you to mourn. He trusts every friend to help him build his shed high up on the mountain from whence he came. He wiped out your stress, got kicked in his breast. He's a friend of community, our VTubers one less. Ooh, I lost that note bad. That's my epic tale. Our dwarfmen had prevailed, defeated the brainworms. Now pour him some mail. Toss some bits to your Twitcher, oh chatbox of plenty, oh chatbox of plenty, oh. Toss some bits to your Twitcher, a friend of community. Toss some bits to your Twitcher, oh chatbox of plenty, oh chatbox of plenty, oh. Toss some bits to your Twitcher. I can't read chat, you guys fuck me up. Were your eyes always such a pretty shade of green? Yes. Or I just got one D6 inspiration. I got you. Hey, the chat box is back too. It did. It did. Hi, welcome in. Hey, is my lo-fi not playing? The fuck?
Rockin' Stone!
XXL Big Bad Dragon. Well, welcome on in.
Bedronius cheered X500, toss some bits? Nah, you're gonna take my entire wallet, and maybe a second mortgage lol.
Wow. Okay. No, but yes, my eyes were not always dollar signs. That's just because of the hype train. Normally they look like this. Very handsome. But for this, we rock the dollar signs. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Few people do. Oh, wait, hold on. Is Mix It Up not up? Oh my gosh. I had not noticed that Mix It Up redeems had not been going. I owe you guys several redeems. I am super sorry. Don't keep pressing the buttons after I tell you they don't work. Hey guys, the redeems aren't working right now. So press that
Rock
button.
and stone.
Thank you for the follows, everybody, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Destroy.
Of course, that's the first one that works.
Hello.
Hello.
Counter.
Oh, that wasn't what I meant to do.
Hello.
See. Oh, a sumo wrestle. Bow, bow, bow. Sumo wrestle is this one.
Oshi.
DTS is silent. Yeah, the first one, Rumble has to wake up. The first one never works. So I'll play that one for you, okay, Badronius? You all can't actually be serious.
Gods, I was strong then.
I am ready to receive instruction from the realm of creation above me for the sandwich I am about to conceive. I am open. Use me.
Yeah. Rumble. Little man, get it together, dude. Alright, Rumble is just on the fritz today. You guys can try him again in a couple minutes. Well, I guess I'm gonna... Little fella looks like he's gonna vibrate out of existence. Yeah, that's his job. Rumble struggling? Well, it's a good thing he's a golem. I have no mouth and I must scream. True. I will probably give you VIP after I ban you if someone just put the entire I have no mouth and I must scream hate speech through Rumble. I'd probably ban you for a day and then give you VIP time for a little while. Hate. I hate him. Hate. Alright, Bird Up is going to be 1 channel point with no cooldown. Commence-a-con.
Bird up. Bird up. Destroy.
Bird up.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
All right. Hit.
Bird up.
Always the extra one. All right, we're not in the hype train anymore. Turning my eyes back to normal.
Humongous hungalonga no no logongas.
It's me, the one with the massive Honolonga Dungangas. All right, so what do y'all say? You say we get ready for... You ready for the shenanigans? I say we get ready for the shenanigans. Yeah? That's what I think. Coincidence? You're a shenanigan. No. Hera's husband is a Sahagan. Making eggs. Got so excited for Bird Up, I almost completely missed the pit. Tube. Bro. With a little bit of Bert. I can't. Pull up the slides. Where's my window capture? Up. Bam. There. Willow broke for Horatio.exe? No. If the professor is more than 15 minutes late, they're legally allowed to skip. No. We're also not late. I was only 5... Shut up. Hello, Queen's Hollow. Welcome in. Gods, I was lecture 13 then. Alright. Me turn off some of our redeems. I was literally scrambling to get to stream on time, and I was still 5 minutes late. To be fair, that was the first. Today was the first time I've been late to a stream in years. Like long beards, like gray beards in the audience. You know, I'm not late to streams, and it was fucking me up a little bit to be late today. Because of YouTube? No, it's because I was finishing my lecture notes. Don't listen to my own stream. I don't listen to my own stream. That's masturbatory. Okay, so.
Okay, so, question.
Mm-hmm.
If K is a substitute for OK, and some people call their dad Pops, could K-pop be a substitute for OK Boomer?
Don't make Rumble say puns. I'm looking for some metal loopholes, actually, trying to avoid taking responsibility for some stuff. Well then, Pascal Rat, you were in the perfect place to learn some great techniques for you to maladaptively dodge your own responsibilities that you have to yourself. You're in the right spot. Aoife, I will intentionally put, like, I'll put salt in your coffee next time we go get coffee. Awesome, I'm locked in. Fuck yeah. Alright. Just as a final reminder to please go check out that we are also streaming on YouTube. Will it be rock salt, though? Who told you to say that? Who told them? Who told them to say that? Who told the new person to say that shit? Who said it? Who told this new person to say it? Someone tipped you off. Someone tipped you off to say that. It was me. Stop. Welcome in. Zatrath. Kuwana Zaraya. Kuwana Zatreya? Actually, no, I came to you, said you're going to be putting salt in something, and you're a dwarf, so I sense it'd be rock salt. God damn it! Is rock salt a psychology term? No, it's a long-running bit in my community that I have an ongoing argument with my community that I don't eat rocks. Dwarves don't eat rocks. We don't eat rocks. Dwarves do not eat rocks. And then Chad is all like, fingers in their cheeks. They're like, trying to be coy, and they're like, what about rock salt? That's a rock. And I'm like, it's not a rock! Do you eat minerals, though? I'm new here. I'm getting up to speed. No, you're good. I genuinely thought someone had, like, told you guys, hey, come over to my friend Horatius's channel. You guys should make some sort of joke about rock salt. It'll really piss him off. So I was like, who told you? Who told you? But it's got rock in the name because it is rock-like. It is not a rock. I don't eat salt, but horror does. Absolutely rock. We're not doing this. I have a lecture to do. We're not getting caught up in this. Me licking my Himalayan salt lamp to prove you wrong. Oh boy, we're opening this can of rocks again. Entire salt mines exist. I know that it's a mine and they mine salt, but it is not a rock. No one sits at a table. No one sits at a table with a little fucking like a little slab of granite. Is like, hey, would you please kindly pass the granite? No one eats rocks. You don't eat rocks. You don't eat rocks. Nobody eats rocks. Nobody looks. I might. No, you don't. And if you have pica, then I'm not talking about you. That's outside. That's something you're working on, okay? You don't know? I'm willing to make a statement that people do not eat rocks. Except for dwarves. Pop rocks aren't rocks either. They're crystalline formations of sugar. But yummy limestone, Hora? Motley Faye. Kids are people? Not yet. Dogs eat rocks all the time? That's not people! Salt has a crystalline structure? Exactly. But it's got rock in the name? Alright, no, you know what? I'm just gonna ignore you guys. We're just gonna do the lecture. I'm just gonna start the lecture. And you guys can't stop me. I'm just gonna start the lecture. You guys can't hurt me, I'm just gonna start the lecture. Louis Vasquez, I'm taking my business elsewhere. Hey, Hora, rocks? Yeah, rocks are cool. I love rocks. Am I right? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe rocks will break Horatius. Kids aren't Listen, I'm a teacher. I work in mental health with middle school age students. They ain't people yet. This is mostly a bit. I'm gonna just start talking about cognitive loopholes, okay? All right, everybody. Welcome to Psychology 102, Lecture 13, Cognitive Loopholes. My name is Horatius Silverstone, and we're going to get today started. Remember, we have some traditional rules for our lectures. The first of them is, if you want to ask a question that's relevant to the current topic at hand, please use the raise hand channel point redeem. If you have questions that are not on topic, please save them, maybe even type them out, and just save them for the Q&A section at the end of the lecture. I will be interacting with chat. Many of you guys know that I take a lot of pride in how much I interact with my chat. Just understand that because I'm focusing on delivering the lecture information, I'm going to be focusing on that as not as much as I would normally focus on the chat. So I will be reading chat. I'll be looking at chat, but just understand. If you have a rock-related question, ask it at the Q&A. Got it? No quest. No side quests? Side quests for later. Okay, just as a reminder, who am I? My name is Horatius the Dwarf. I'm an English-speaking VTuber, and by trade, I'm a mental health professional. I have over 7 years of field experience. I'm currently employed as a special education teacher. I have experience with ABA, which I'm not a fan of, addiction counseling, behavioral management. I've done case manager work. I've been a one-on-one behavioral aid in an education setting. I've done intensive in-home work. I've done crisis management, conflict resolution, and CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. I am not licensed to practice in your country or territory. Now, I hear you cry, Mr. Horatius or Mr. Silverstone. Evidently, you're licensed to practice somewhere. That is correct. I am, however, I'm making the assumption that I am not licensed to practice mental health with you all because I am not licensed where you live. Obviously, I'm relatively open with where I live. I live in Maryland my whole life. But even if you live in Maryland, I'm not licensed to be your therapist. I'm not your psychologist. I'm not your mental health professional. I'll help you find one, but that's not the nature of our relationship. Maryland, Moria, it is really the same thing. You're absolutely right. Does Twitch make you say this disclaimer? No, I say this disclaimer for my own ethics. This is for me. I'm glad that you asked, though. This is for me so that I don't feel like I'm breaking ethical ground with my conduct. All right, so as a reminder, the purpose of these streams and our goals here on these lectures is threefold. It's threefold. One, it's to raise the awareness of mental health in the streaming community because motherfuckers don't know shit about it. Two is to educate people on the basics of psychology. As we continue on with the higher grades of lecture, like we're already in Psych 102, eventually we'll get to Psych 201 and Psych 202 and 204 and etc. shit like that. But just as an understanding, the stuff we cover here is surface level. Sometimes we get into the weeds, sometimes we get a little bit deep with it, but like generally speaking, this stuff is pretty surface level things that any of you could go and borrow a textbook from your local library and learn. Will this be on the test? Yes. Everything I talk about on these lectures is always on the test because the test is life and you're doing it every fucking day. Welcome in, Andy. Don't worry. I'm literally still doing the disclaimer. Even if you did want to articulate that you're late, you're not. And I'm a lawyer, but not your lawyer, are generally good bases to cover these situations. Yes. Hootie, what's cooking, baby? It's good to see you, man. Welcome in. Also, check out YouTube. Thank you. And lastly, the third purpose is to be a narcissism lecture. Yes. I have talked about narcissism several times. Are there VODs? Some of the VODs have made it to YouTube. The reason why I'm multi-streaming is to make sure that these lectures always make it to YouTube, because I think that these are some of the most important streams that I do, and making sure that these streams in particular are preserved so other people can see them is really important to me. So I hope you guys enjoy them, and you can always refer to them back. If you go and you join the Gathering of Beards Discord, which is one of the 2 Discord links that pops up when you ask for a Discord link, a lot of my old slides are saved on that Discord, and I'm going to be moving all of my slides onto the new Discord, which is called the Mountain Home, in the not too distant future. All right. So, and the third reason is to entertain and share my personal experiences in the field. Like I said, I've been working in the field of psychology for basically 8 years now, almost 8 years now. And I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of personal experiences from my clients and my peers. And I feel like it's important to share that information with you guys. And as the title of this stream is labeled, this is a psychology edutainment lecture. What I'm going to be talking about is based in fact, right? This is what the disclaimer here says. Take what you hear and read and improvise it. Much of what I'll be sharing is fact, but it'll be slathered in my own opinions and biases. This is to cover my ethics and to not do unjust harm to people in my efforts here. So yeah. Also, the meme here, don't feel obligated to pay me just to ask a question. I'm a teacher and my wife is also a teacher, so like we have money, but we don't have like money. So if you are in a fortuitous enough situation in your life that you can give, I will gladly receive that and it will be put to good use. I don't try to make a lot of money with these streams. This is just something that I do to kind of leave my little legacy on the world. So if you can help, that would be great, but that's probably the last time I'm going to ask about it. So, we are going to ask, here's our pre-lecture quiz, okay? So these 5 questions will appear at the end of the lecture as well, all right? So make sure that you are keeping track of these, because I will ask them again at the end, and I will expect you to be able to answer them in chat. All right? Amasha, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk I'm not gonna talk shit about anybody, and I'm not throwing shade at any particular person because this isn't just one person doing this. But I've seen over the almost 4.5 years I've been streaming, I've seen a lot of people who consider themselves like a mental health advocate, and people who consider themselves, trying to be helpful in the field of mental health, right? And I'll be honest, I wish a lot of those people would sit down and shut the fuck up. Respectfully, because I think a lot of the time they just don't have the sauce. And what I mean by that is that they don't have the education, the formal understanding, the field experience to, and evidently what is often the case, the ethics. How do they get seen if they shut up? I actually don't care. That's the crazy part, is I don't care if they're not seen. That would actually be rad. And there are people in the VTubing world and streaming space overall that don't really know what they're talking about, and they pretend that they do. And I know genuinely speaking, the majority of them are probably I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, are willing to try and make the world a better place, and I respect them for that. But I think each of us needs to understand when you need to pass the relay baton off and let someone else do the next part of the race. Okay? So if you see people out there trying to do what you're seeing me do today, understand that I appreciate what they're trying to do, but if they do not conduct themselves in a professional way, you should always be very scrutinous about why they're giving you that information. Can we pin it if you want to? It's not required. The questions will come up. There's literally a duplication of this slide called Post Lecture Quiz with all the questions on it. But do what you gotta do. The first question is, what even is a cognitive loophole? 2, why do these loops form, and are they helpful? I like how you APA formatted it as well. Thanks. Yeah. What role does my biases play in these loopholes? What is my role when I notice someone else's loops? And when and with what skills can I address my loops?
Rock and stone!
Thank you, Pesco Rat. I appreciate that. And this is an extra little thing. I'm going to move my arm out of the way a little bit. Extra little thing. There's going to be a test on the actual slides at the end of the lecture, okay? So make sure if you're able to, make sure you're watching the slides, because there will be clues and details in the slides that you must recall. All right? So just as a heads up. All right. So let's talk about cognitive loopholes. Let's get started. So officially from this point on, we're in it. PC Ilda, thank you very much for the follow. From this point on, I'm not going to be engaging with chat as much. I'm just going to be on a tear. So I'm sorry if I ignore you. Please use the raise hand redeem if you want to make sure I see your question, or ask a mod to pin your question to make sure that I get to it. Okay. All right. So, what is a cognitive loophole, and I'll be calling these a loop or loops for the rest of this, of the lecture, is simply just a train of thought that resembles itself. What? So, like, okay, 1 + 1 is 2, right? Every time, yeah? So it's math. Well, not really. It's not exactly math, right? Math is absolutes, you know? 1 + 1 will always be 2 unless you're talking about some sort of theoretical mathematics that is above my understanding, right? But in my relatively straightforward understanding of mathematics, if you take a 1 and you add it to another 1, you will always get a 2. That's just a mathematic fact, right? The thing is, thoughts and behavior are not like that. There's simply too many conflating factors in a person to say that they'll always do the same thing, right? If you go into the, let's say any and all of you probably have a local corner store that you probably frequent, right? So, like, for example, there's a local corner store that I stop in, let's just say 2 times a week. And generally speaking, I will go into that corner store and I'll get one of 2 or 3 different kinds of beverages, and then I'll get one of 2 or 3 different kinds of snacks. I have like my menu in my head. And I even have my route set up when I go in. I always walk in, I immediately turn to the left, go to the back side of the store, loop through the coolers, grab my drink, go towards the front, grab my snack, go to the checkout and leave. Just a cute little actual literal loop, right? That's not everybody though. Right? You cannot predict. You could look at the footage of 100 times of me walking through that store, and even though there's going to be a lot of repeats, right? There's going to be instances where I do not do the same thing. There's going to be a day where like, oh, actually, I want a spicy snack today, and then I'll get something different. Or like, oh, actually, I want a coffee beverage instead of a soda. Or, actually, I'm really dehydrated. I'm going to get a big old water instead. You know what I mean? So like, behavior and people's thoughts are just so unpredictable that even if you see consistencies in people's actions, there's always the opportunity for them to break out of those habits, right? Muscle memory is not an absolute. You're gonna mess up your muscle memory. You're going to be sharper than your muscle memory remembers sometimes. There's just so many factors. It cannot be predicted. Unless that person is in what we call a cognitive loophole. So introspection time. After the example I gave about the corner store, what is the situation that you find yourself in a loop in? This could be something like whenever you go to Burger King or McDonald's rather, you always get a number 3 combo. That would be one. Or like I buy junk food. Yeah. So like, I want you guys to think about it. What is a loophole that you can identify in yourself that when you're exposed to a stimuli that you're familiar with, you always do the exact same thing? Just name it in chat. Yep. Because it calms me? Yeah, even if it's not the fastest route, right? Lock the door after leaving a house? Gotta keep the house safe. Sleeping? Sure. Alarm goes off, I turn off the alarm. The pattern you load the dishwasher? I love that one. That's a real good one. Because there's no reason for that, right? There's no like, oh, simple answer, simple reason. It's like, no, that is. Horatius took my McDonald's example. Fair enough. Medicine in the morning? Absolutely. Pet dog for good luck whenever I go outside for anything. Washing your hands every time. Absolutely. No, these are all really great examples of loopholes, right? The exact order I do my morning routine? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. These are all incredible introspections, everybody. Good job doing some introspection today. So, let's talk about it. There are so many types of cognitive loops. I thought loophole was the process of arriving to an answer to a problem without actually solving the problem. No, cognitive loopholes is not an actual term. It's just a one that I came up with. That's why we're using loops instead, moving from this point on. But I already labeled the lecture cognitive loopholes, so I wanted to stay consistent. Don't worry. Cognitive loops is what we're really talking about. So the first section of cognitive loops is more dwarfer than the old one. Oh, thanks. So, there are so many different types of cognitive loops. And so these are some of them. Availability heuristics, which just for those who are unfamiliar, a heuristic is in the bottom left corner there. A heuristic or heuristic techniques is just any approach to a problem solving that employs a pragmatic method that is not fully optimized, perfected, or rationalized, but is nevertheless good enough with an approximation or attribute substitution. It's a method of learning. Think of it like that. So, the availability heuristic is the proclivity of a person to overestimate the chance of something happening. Our memory plays a big role in the formation of these heuristics. We broke them? No, sorry, I was writing something down. So we have anthropocentric thinking, which is the tendency to use... What's heuristics mean? I just explained it. Heuristics... or a heuristic is any approach to problem solving that employs a pragmatic method that is not fully optimized, perfected, or rationalized, but is nevertheless good enough as an approximation or attribute substitution. That's okay. Thank you for being honest. I imagine that this might be too small for someone to read, so I'm willing to read that down. It's like a shortcut. That's closer to a schema, but yeah, yes, that's a fair enough understanding. That is a heuristic understanding of what a heuristic is. Hey, all right. So we have anthropocentric reasoning, which is the tendency to use human analogies as a basis for reasoning about other less familiar biological phenomena, right? So let's say we're building a shed, right? And then every time it rains, your shed sags a little bit because that's how wood does, right? And so you go, oh, my shed is sagging because just like how rain makes me sag, right? So it's like the reason why a shed sags, that's made out of wood, sags when it gets rained on a lot is because the wood absorbs the water, and that makes the wood bow because it's heavier than it was before. That's why. But if you don't understand the nature of cellulose structures in wood, then you just go, oh, well, water just makes things sag. Right? I get saggy when I'm wet. My clothes get saggy when I'm wet. So it makes sense that a shed would sag when it's wet. Water makes things sag. That's just what it does. Like that would be an anthropocentric thinking. If that makes any sense. So true when you gotta cry in the shower. But is wood heavier? Shush. All right, then we have anthropomorphism, right? Anthropomorphism is the characterization of animals, objects, and abstract concepts as possessing human traits, emotions, or intentions. The opposite bias of not attributing these things or thoughts to another person is dehumanized perception, which is a type of objectification. Are you teaching us psychology? I am. Welcome in. But I'm not actually communicating with my cat? No, you probably are. Just not to the way that you think you are. West Coast Booty Killer. Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, man. On Sundays, we talk about psychology, and once a month, I give a lecture about psychology. So this month, we're talking about cognitive loops. So anthropomorphism, you guys are familiar with this. You guys know what furries are. Anthropomorphism, or you've seen a Disney movie. I'll say it that way instead. Anthropomorphism is the practice of attributing, like, for example, sharks, spoilers, sharks are not rage monsters that want to eat every person, right? But if a shark eats a person, then we go, it's the White Death, and it hates humans, and it'll go out of its way to kill you. No, it won't. That's not how sharks are. They're simple little tubes of meat, and they're just being little fish. They're just being big old fish boys. And if you look tasty and they think that you're food, they're going to take a little nibble out of you. And if you taste real good, they're going to eat the whole damn thing. You know? Yes, it is. Sometimes they take a nibble. Yeah, sometimes just take a little bite out of somebody. Anyway, back it up. So Salience bias. This is a fun one. Salience bias, right, is the tendency to focus on items that are more prominent or emotionally striking and ignore those that are unremarkable, even though this difference is often irrelevant by objective standards. Hi, welcome on in. I don't care about your petty. I don't care about your petty. I assume pedicure. Welcome in all the way. All the same. So the salience bias. So salience, if something is salient, that means that it is important, right? Or it's widely reasonable, right? Can I give an example of salience bias? So a salience bias. Okay, here's an example, right? If you open the hood of a car, or if you look at the machinations, right, of a machine, right? Look at the machinations of a complicated machine. I'm Moonviewer. Actually, we're just going into ads, right? So I'm going to take a quick piss, and we'll come back to that question when I get back. Sound good? We'll all just take like a nice little 2-minute. All right, cool. I'll be back. Let me get some pistachios. All right. Okie dokie. Loops. That's some good discussion happening in chat. Is ads over? Didn't see any ads yet? Ah, crap. Did I mistime that? Yes, the ad just started. Exotic, aren't you subbed?
Hello.
Stand by to wait message, didn't you? Yeah, I did. Well, Zodiac Jack, thank you for coming on in. Zilair, thank you. Welcome, welcome. Oh, hell yeah, Exotic. Are you in Iceland? The quote, you didn't see shit, you didn't hear shit. Frankly. Chat, my wife's bullying me in DMs. Whoa. So many people are watching over on the red region. All right. All right, so let's rewind a little bit, shall we? What was the question that I was answering before I decided to take a break? Is it okay to be gay? Yes, it is. Oh, okay. What's an example of salience bias? Yeah. So an example of salience bias would be to see, like, if you open up like a machine, right? Or you can say, I was just having fun with alliteration, Scribellis. Being more scared of dying in a plane crash. Yeah, that's one. I was going to say, is the that are more important or emotionally striking, right? So if you look in if you look under the hood of a car, right? Or if you look at the machinations of a machine, most people, I think it's pretty, like, a fair statement that most folks know what a battery is, right? And more so know that a machine needs a power source to run, right? So if I handed you a pair of pliers and said, you can cut one connection underneath this car hood to prevent the car from running, right? What are most people going to cut? They're probably going to cut the battery line. Don't do that, but my point is, like, most people would go to the fuel line, right? The battery line, sure. These things are prominent. They're very easily identifiable. But, like, well, the brakes aren't going to stop a car from running. You know what I mean? But, you know what also stops a car from running? Removing the spark plug or damaging the spark plug. You know what I mean? Exactly, Slime, yeah. You take the spark plug away, that car ain't going to turn on. I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. Yeah, I know Tanya raised a hand. I'm getting through one thing at a time. So, yeah. Removing the wheels? Yeah. Right. So that's what salience bias is. It's the tendency to focus on what is the most, like, identifiable thing, even though it might not be the only way to handle a problem. I know a trick to not lose objects as easily as giving them a face/googly eyes and a name. Is it the same as salience bias? No. That would be anthropomorphism. Because you're giving it human-like traits. And then, yeah. All right, so then attentional bias, the last of our availability heuristics, right, is the tendency of perception to be affected by recurring thoughts. So, you go into a store, right, and you go, I'm going to try something new today, and you try an orange soda, right? You get a Coca-Cola or some sort of cola, right? But today, you get an orange soda, right? And then you get the orange soda, and it's exceptional. It's so good, right? And you can't stop thinking about it. You're like, wow, that's the best orange soda I've ever had. That's the most delightful thing I have ever experienced. I'm getting more of those.
Rock and stone.
Manomi13, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. I think this is pretty good. What is this? Orange? Yeah. And then it sticks out. And then, now you're an orange soda guy. And now you're going to start getting orange soda, right? So, by, like, by continuously perseverating on something, you push that forward in your sort of priority list of that's something that I'm more biased towards or something I'm more biased against because of how often I think about it. I just had that happen with a Jamaican soda last week. See? Yeah. All right. Now our second section on this, favorite burger from a chain. Yes, exactly. Well, that's more of a confirmation bias, but yes. I understood this alien, but ironically, I'm drinking some pretty good orange soda right now. Hell yeah. So we have confirmation biases. Confirmation biases are probably the ones that I think most people have an understanding of, right? Confirmation bias is just that general tendency to be adverse to things that don't agree with one's own perceptions and thoughts, or more importantly, that you are in favor of things that do agree with you. This is something that a lot of people, I'm sure, can relate to. Politics. We're going to look at that. We're going to move on. Okay? We're going to look at it. We're going to move on. The backfire effect, which is a tendency to react to disconfirming evidence by strengthening one's own beliefs. So that is to say that you are presented evidence that disagrees with what you were saying, and that then in turn has a backfire effect of what the person telling you wanted to achieve. Okay, anyone argues a good point. Yeah. So I literally was dealing with this not that long ago. I had someone who was kind of spiraling out really bad with some really bad news they were dealing with, and the backfire effect can happen where if someone is in a loop, right, and they are convinced of something that's happening the way they think it's happening, and you provide them with evidence to the contrary, they can just ignore that and be like, no, that was for them, this is for me, I'm fucked, right? That's it backfiring. You were trying to offer them a shovel, and instead you were like, someone's in a hole, right? You hand them a shovel to like, here's a handle for you to grab so I can pull you out of the hole, but instead they just take the shovel from you and dig deeper. Kids call it crashing out, basically. That's one way that crashing out can be represented for sure. I'm built different. I hate that statement so fucking much. It's less that they don't move on. It's more that like you provide evidence to the contrary and it reinvigorates them, right? Into what they already believed. Experimenters or expectation bias. This is a big one that I deal with. Doubling down, basically. The tendency for experimenters to believe, certify, and publish data that agrees with their expectations for the outcome of an experiment, and to disbelieve, discard, or downgrade the corresponding weightings for data that appear to conflict with those expectations. I'm looking at you, motherfuckers, who say that vaccines cause autism. I'm looking at you guys. They did this. They did this. Those guys, they did this. And it's buggered a whole generation of people. A group of... Oh, Zodiac, thank you for the follow, by the way. A group of people got it in their head that they believed something to already be true, and then they did the science, and they looked at the evidence, and they said, well, what if we were right anyway? I'm going to have another cup of coffee. Hashtag plug the coffee. Hashtag go buy the coffee. Hashtag we might get our own coffee flavor soon if we keep selling the coffee. Hashtag help your boy get his own flavor of coffee. Hashtag attach your coffee. You guys get 5% off. I get 10% of the sale. Go buy the coffee. Flat earthers fall into the backfire effect a lot. Yes. It's really good. Yeah, Broth bought it and loves it. And The alpha wolves debunked it. I had to get into a whole argument with one of my students on Friday about about the dire wolf thing, but that's not what you were talking about. Aoife, I'm gonna pick you up. Aoife, hi. I talked about this. We're gonna look and see how confirmation bias plays a role in the political world right now. We're gonna look at it, and we're gonna move on. Okay? So I'm gonna put you down. We're gonna move on. Okay? That's not what we do here. I'm politically active. A lot of you guys are politically active, and that's great. I'm not a politician. I'm not a political streamer. We don't do that here. We'll sit you down. We're gonna move on. Why is that so funny? Because it's infantilizing and it's trying to be doing it in a polite way, but I'm sorry. All right. Selective perception. This is the tendency for expectations to affect perception. Simple as it can be, right? So it's the tendency for how we expect things to turn out to affect how we perceive things turning out, right? Now this can be like, here's an easy one. Excuse me. How many, Mikey? Yes, there is, and we'll talk about it later. Here. So let's say, all right. Here's a really easy one. A real easy one. New movie just came out. Everybody's talking about how good it is. Everybody's talking about how good it is. It is such a well-beloved movie, right? And everyone's raving about it. Everybody loves it. And you go to see it, and it is mid as hell. But you perceive it as better than it actually is. Because the expectation is that the movie's really good. Everyone thinks the movie is good. The movie's good. It's not. It's fine. Right? But because you are expecting to see a good movie, then you go, yeah, that movie was great. And you yourself believe that. Because other people visit. So, yeah. Absolutely. When I hypes the movie up, it's mid. It's actually, it makes you do the movie less. So, and then we have the observer expectancy effect. This is one of my favorites. The observer expectancy effect. When a researcher expects a given result and therefore unconsciously manipulates an experiment or misinterprets data in order to find it. Now, this is a rough one, okay? Because this happens all the time. All the time. And it's hard to detect because it is unconsciously done. Right? That's the correct, Slime Professor. This is why we double blind our shit. With lawyers a lot? Well, no, it depends, because the observer expectancy effect is predicated on these things happening in a unconscious level. If someone is doing it malicious, then that's just manipulation of fact, right? That's different. The unconscious factor is what's important. When it's done unawared, okay? That's the important part. Peer review, exactly. But they love it. Right, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Alright, now we have egocentric biases. Egocentric biases. We have these biases are a creation of one's over-reliance on their own perspective or that consider that perspective superior. Ergo, why the word ego is involved. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Well, thank you guys for being over on YouTube as well. It means a lot. Wow, 15 people watching the YouTube stream is crazy. Okay, sorry. How do you not let a boss slip once in a while? Well, that's the thing, dog. You do. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. It's going to happen. So, we have the third person effect, right? A tendency to believe that mass communicated media messages have a greater effect on others than themselves. So it's a tendency to believe that a mass communicated message has a greater effect on other people than it does on the people that said it. Like my toxic trait making me think I could maybe think I could do it. Comments on Red Bull vids. Yeah. Yep. I'm built different. God, I fucking hate that statement so much. I hate it so much. So then we have the biased blind spot. This is an important one. The tendency to see oneself as less biased than other people, or to not be able to identify more cognitive biases in others than in oneself. I'm built by a 10-year-old. So the biased blind spot is one of my favorites, because this is one that I do a lot. I think very highly of myself. We talked about this recently when I talked about ego. I think very highly of myself. I'm incredible. And you guys are very fortunate that I make content at all. That's quite the pitfall. It's certainly a neutrality. I call it neutrality bias. Yeah. Whoa, horror education stream. Hi, Rune. Welcome in.
Woo horror educational stream.
Hell yeah. What's up, Yano? Then my friend watching the guy. I just said that to my friend. We're watching it together. That's awesome. That's rad. Yeah, so absolutely. I'm built different, yet it came free with your genetic diversity pose. Ugh. My illusion of control. Hey, we're gonna talk about that in a minute, Niano. So yeah, the bias blind spot is really, really important for biases because it's you being like, oh yeah, I'm better at identifying biases, and therefore more people have them than I do. I have less. I'm better, right? And that's that sort of gassing yourself up. You're feeling yourself too much, right? The Forer effect or the Barnum effect. This is a cool one. This is a very cool one. I'm gonna read this one. You guys will be like, "Hey, just wait. When I do it, I want you guys to say Excelsior in chat. When I after I read this, if you guys are like, "Hey, wait a minute," like if you know what I'm talking about, I want you to Excelsior, okay? Excelsior, you just try it. The tendency for individuals to give high accuracy ratings to descriptions of their personality that supposedly are tailored specifically for them, but are in fact vague and general enough to apply to a wide range of people. This effect can provide a partial explanation for the widespread acceptance of some beliefs and practices, such as astrology, fortune-telling, graphology, and some types of personality tests. Yeah. Wait, what's graphology? Actually, don't worry about it. No, I'm phrasing that in second language without reading along. Perhaps you're referring to our favorite scientist? No, we're not talking about that piece of shit. He has no place in these lectures. Don't even bring him up. I'm gonna worry about it. What your handwriting says about you. Now I'm really worried. I don't understand. Okay. So, stuck on Kiki. Can you tell me what is your astrological sign? Like or what Chinese New Year? What year of the animal are you? Or what zodiac sign are you? December? Shut the fuck up, Grant. Flashback from entering the kitchen and office colleagues discuss horoscopes. Yep, you're a rat. Purple. I'm a snake. I'm a Gemini. I'm a monkey. Aquarius. You're a Sagittarius. You must be free spirited. Pisces. Yeah. So, like, if exactly, Willow. You're a Sagittarius. Oh, you must be free spirited, right? I'm Cancer. I know that, Krim. Anyway, weird. Yeah, it's the idea of being like, oh, well, of course, like, you open a fortune cookie, right? And it says, tomorrow is going to be a glorious victory, right? And then the next day, right, you go through your day and you order pizza, right? You open a fortune cookie on Monday and it says, tomorrow will bring you a great victory, right? And then on Tuesday, you order pizza, and you're like, I'll take 2 cheese pizzas and a pepperoni pizza, right? And then the pizzas get there, and they gave you 2 cheese pizzas and 2 pepperoni pizzas. Well, hot damn, you have an extra free pizza. And the guy's like, you could just take it, and then you get a free pizza. What a glorious victory. You know what? My fortune cookie predicted this glorious victory. That's the Forer effect, or the Barnum effect. I had a glorious victory. They gave me 2 meals at Korean barbecue yesterday. Heck yes, these. Or it's not like the fortune cookies are vague enough that they can be linked to everyday life. Grin, that's exactly what we're talking about. All right, the illusion of control. The tendency to overestimate one's degree of influence over other external events. So, the illusion of control would be like, okay, let's just talk about brass tacks for a second. I'm currently streaming to over 120 people right now. That's pretty cool. 120 people, that's a lot of people. I'm actually kind of shocked, and I'm very trying to keep myself together about it. But is 120 people enough to sway a local election? When most of you don't live in Maryland? We're all in your house. You're an awesome dude. It's worth it. I agree, and I thank you for noticing. But, like, no, it's not. 120 people, most of which don't live in Maryland. I could tell you guys, hey, all of you call my local representative to advocate for some sort of change in Maryland local law, right? Me thinking that I have enough control to do that because of the size of my community is laughable. And that is the illusion of control. I do not have control over that. Right? That, yeah. And he had students fill out a questionnaire about themselves. And after they turned to him, they gave him a quick analytical analysis of who they were as people. Students from Canada, welcome in. Hey, I'm a Canadaphile. I love Canada, so. Illusion of choice, opposite, but similarly insidious brother. Yes. You asked school about a local pretty well. That's true. That's true. People all seem to agree the analysis is accurate. Yeah. Yep. Let's say no. I'm no better or worse than anybody else about identifying biases. I just don't care. People are going to do what they're going to do. Things to do anyway with. But they go down the road, they'll decide for themselves. Yeah, I mean, that's a fine perception to have. I don't agree with that, but I think that's totally fine if that's how, if that's what helps you live, like, carry on, man. Honestly. And then our last of the egocentric biases that we're going to talk about today is the trait ascription bias. The tendency for people to view themselves as relatively variable in terms of personality, behavior, and mood, while viewing others as much more predictable. This is a particular flavor of the protagonist phenomenon that people have, where they're like, oh, I'm multifaceted, I'm complicated, I have a super interesting life, and I'm doing all these cool things. And, Ralph from my job, well, he's just some middle manager at a local retail store. He has nothing going on. Everyone around me is an NPC. Yeah, exactly, Roth. That's exactly it. Everyone around me is an NPC in my life. I'm unique, just like everyone else. Exactly. Do I contradict myself? Very well, I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes. Yes, you do, my love. Protagonist syndrome, the bane of many DMs everywhere. Not really. I love killing pro tags, man. Masha, as much as you are an NPC in the lives of others, other people are NPCs in the lives of you. That I think is the more healthy way to look at it, is that we're all NPCs to somebody. It's great for storytelling and yapping? Correct. Alright. This is our last segment of types of loops. And to be clear, there are many more times of loops that I did not have the time and space and energy to include. I highly recommend that you go and look up cognitive loops yourself, and you will find so very many. But they weren't in my life anymore. Good. All right, we have a very famous one of these self-assessment loops. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Very, very popular. A lot of people are probably familiar with this one. And that is the tendency for unskilled individuals to overestimate their own ability and the tendency for experts to underestimate their own ability. Everyone does this sometimes. Odds are, if you've never ridden a motorcycle in your life and you are given the bare minimum of a precursor about how to drive a motorcycle, you will, odds are, do just fine. Incredible? No. Will you fail? Probably. But you're probably going to be okay. The hard, easy effect. The tendency to overestimate one's ability to accomplish hard tasks, and the underestimate one's ability to accomplish easy ones. So Dunning-Kruger is kind of how is like the other side of the hard easy, right? How eggs ended up in the morning. True. I actually deal with the hard easy effect a lot with my students. I have a couple of students who I can sit there and I can give them grade level or higher grade level math and they will crush it. But like one of my kids just doesn't know the answer to 7 times 5. He just doesn't get it. There's something about 7 times 5 that is just like, what? Like, it just blanks his head, right? But I can be like, hey, if x equals 3, then how do you result the following equation of 3x to the second plus 16 minus 1/4? And he'll be able to answer that shit. Right? It's not dyscalculia. Even if it is, we're not getting into it, right? You found the reset phrase. Exactly. For some reason, it just happens. Just do... And see, Tinny, that's how that works for you, right? But this kid does not have a heuristic for that. That's bad sectors in your brain. No, there's reasons for it. And I suppose a bad section of your brain could be the answer to that, but the brain's functioning and structures is very, very complicated. And that's probably not the case, but it could be. The glitch, it is remarkably plastic. You are correct. That's where I keep all my macro plastics. I'm kidding. So. Wait, I don't. I was gonna hope you would notice that, Andy, but you got it, gamer. All right. And then the imposter phenomenon, everyone's favorite. We've done a whole lecture on the imposter's phenomenon. We have had multiple psychology open houses about the imposter phenomenon. We've talked about this forever, right? Yeah, Willow, you struggling with very simplistic math is an example of the hard easy effect, right? You struggle with really easy tasks sometimes, but you're incredibly smart on other things. Anyway, the imposter phenomenon is the psychological occurrence in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments, and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. I've watched literally hundreds of people since I started VTubing struggle with this. I don't. I know what I am. I know exactly who I am in the VTubing sphere. I know that I'm important in this space, and it took me a long time to get to that understanding, but I know what it is, right? I know that I will not have certain layers of success because I have a full-time job, a wife and relationship with her that I care about, a house that I help run, property that I maintain, a, thriving personal social life. I have a lot of shit going on. And so I know that I will never be as successful as people who literally wake up, do content, and go to bed. I won't. And I'm okay with that. I don't like it, but I'm okay with it. I just feel like I'm being called out. Then that's on you. That if anyone at any point feels like I'm calling them out in these lectures, that you should write that down, because that's something that you got to work on. Does you think poorly of them? Not at all. Not at all. I will actually speak specifically about a friend of mine, like, who does pretty much nothing but content. Like, content is their life. I have friends who do that, and I do not think less of them for it. At all. But that is their vibe. That's what they do. And there is a reason why they are successful at what they do, because what they do is they wake up, they make content, and then they go to bed. Sometimes they take time away. Sometimes they take days off. Sometimes they do other things. And that's great. I'm glad that they do that. But there are a lot of people out there who literally just create content. And it's the same as the other way around, right? If you just wake up, go to work, come home, shit, and go to bed, right? You're going to be exceptional at your job, probably. If you care to be, at least. I'll say it that way. If you care to be good at your job, you're probably going to be, right? Like, for example, if you are... In fact, think of the billions of YouTube channels out there where it's like some dude who lives in the middle of nowhere and he makes videos where all he does is... In fact, I know exactly who I want to talk about. Let me pull his name up, because I'm going to talk about him specifically. Irish carpenter guy. Yeah, Owen Reardon. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. Mr. Reardon, I have very high levels of respect for you. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I apologize. This is his channel. You should go watch his stuff. It's really good. But Mr. Reardon spends every single day of his life... Owen, thank you. Owen Reardon clearly spends every day of his life perfecting his carpentry skills and his woodworking skills. Okay? Cannot see on YouTube. Thank you. Boom. This is what I'm talking about. Owen. Yeah. So that's Owen. And he's incredible. And I promise you, there are few carpenters of his age that are as good as he is at what he does. I promise you. Because this man lives, eats, and breathes his craft. Right? He's incredible. And I literally could not compliment you enough. If somehow someone clips me talking about you and it gets to your door, understand that I, Horatius Silverstone, a dwarf on the internet, who has my own personal experiences in many of the trades, I see your artisanship, and I bow my head in respect to you. You are an artisan, and I hold you in high regard. More people, I think, should try to strive to be as passionate about what they love as much as you are passionate about woodworking. Genuinely. So, yeah. That dude is an example of the opposite of the imposter phenomenon. Right? So then we have objectivity illusion, the phenomenon where people tend to believe that they are more objective and unbiased than others. This bias can apply to itself, where people are able to see when others are affected by the objectivity illusion, but are unable to see it in themselves. Essentially, your ego is clouding your own judgment of recognizing your own loops, basically. Whoops. Alright, pop quiz time. Who was keeping score? How many of those loops felt a little bit close to home? let's review them again. And I want you to tally up the loops that you recognize in yourself. Okay? So, of the availability heuristics, the anthropocentric thinking, anthropomorphism, the salience bias, the attentional biases, the backfire effect, the experimenters or expectation biases, the selective perception, the observer expectancy effect. In the egocentric biases, we have the bias blind spot, the Forer effect or the Barnum effect, the illusion of control, the trait ascription bias, or the third person effect. And then we have the self-assessment loops, such as the Dunning-Kruger, the hard easy, the imposter phenomenon, or the objectivity illusion. So, you do not have to list all of them, but pick one, and I want you guys to take a minute, pick one of those, and I want you to do some introspection and describe what loop you identified in yourself and what the loop was and then what the loop is in your life. Almost all? That's actually genuinely real, scum. Nah, I'm just going to keep my God complex. That's so real, Steez. You're so real for that. You're such a cool guy. I hope someone has shouted you out. Also, by the way, your God complex is like 2 of these. Like the objectivity illusion. It's also the trait ascription bias. It's also the illusion of control. It's also a little bit of the selective perception. And there's also definitely a bit of the attentional bias in that. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a dwarf on the internet. What does the third paragraph mean? Where? That's why I said it. You're doing good. Mission successfully done. Honestly, the same as Aoife. My work history and career is taking me, and I fear every day that I'm some kind of fraud. Yes, Zathiel, on the new Discord server. Also, this is going to be recorded onto YouTube. Quite a few of them. A lot of them remind me of myself on a daily basis, but the worst of probably the hard, easy, and the imposter syndrome. The anthropocentric one sticks out to me the most. Sometimes I describe my car as sick and coughing when it's not working. Yeah, absolutely. Sadly, almost all. I have anxiety and depression, but imposter syndrome is the worst one. Imposter syndrome, imposter phenomenon. Woo, not professionally, but personally in my writing, despite people telling me they enjoy it. Ah, Masha, you should talk to my wife. She's also going through that, where she is writing, and she's getting out on herself about it constantly. The Dunning-Kruger, very much so. Ah, yes, Tube, that tracks for you. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud. Sorry, Tube. Most of them to an extent, except the ones that are about overconfidence. Fair enough. Definitely imposter phenomenon. I doodle something, I hate it. Folks love it. I'm just sitting there like, they hate it. Yep. Oh, I stopped listening for like a second. I said the dog was eating something in my yard. No. Tube, I said the Dunning-Kruger hitting home for you tracks really... That one tracks pretty well. I said I probably shouldn't say that, though, in public. I always fence about imposter syndrome. I have that part that I don't think I'm good enough, but not the part that I think I'm going to discover as a fraud. Just so I don't deserve people to praise the praise people give me. So shrug. Fair. Oops. All right. All right, are loops good or are they bad? Dunning-Kruger meme was the one where you think that you're better than you are and you think that you're worse than you are. or the other people are worse than they are. Right? Yeah. Unskilled individuals to think that they're really good, and experts think they're really bad. Sorry, I said it backwards. So, are loops good or are loops bad? When we're in a loop, it can feel comforting to know what's going to happen next. It can provide stability in a person's life, and altogether, it can be the routine that many of us depend on. For example, a lot of what is Loop Hero? A game you should play. That game freaking rocks. I work with a lot of autistic children, and let me tell you, if there are two things that autistic children love, it's memes and routines. Routine. Predictability is super important for people like them. And genuinely, it's effective for everybody, to be honest with you. I 100% Loop Hero. Yeah, that game. Oh, wait, that Loop Hero? Yeah, it is. That game rocks, dude. Hey, Autism Crew. Heck yeah. Sometimes loops can be good because if we don't use them, we'll be constantly tired. Yes! You are correct. You read ahead, or you already knew. That is the benefits to these loops and why we form them. They're so good at doing so. They are fundamentally to our benefit. However, as with anything, a adaptive behavior can become maladaptive. Can you ever be some level of sure you filtered your thoughts for bias? Can you ever be... Sorry, can you rephrase that question, Patty? I want to answer it because I think if the question you're asking is what I think it is, then I do have a very good answer for it, but I want to make sure that I'm answering the right question. So if you could reword that, I'd really appreciate it. Hi, Tuna. Whoa, guys, is that recent Twitch partner, Tuna Tatsumaki, the they, them of my platonic heart? Sharp Gamersmith, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I watched the fun debate, love listening to debates and working. Heck yeah, Twent. Whoa, Tuna, real. Can you be sure you filter for bias? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And you will probably be wrong. The honest truth, Patty, is you can try. And it's always worth trying. The biggest thing is noticing... Wait, shush. Yes, you can. You can attempt to account for your biases, right? You can say things like, in my experience, comma, blah, 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 blah. Like, what you can do is account for the fact that you are going to be biased. The best thing that you can do when you're sharing information with someone is tell them that you're biased. That warning is very, very simple, very, very small, and very effective. And you have to just recognize that no matter what you do... Wait, that's what I'm doing? Yes, it is. Sorry, dog. Gotcha. Yeah, so that's my simple answer there, Patty, is you can try your best to preamble and to... That distinction adds a lot of clarity to conversation. I could not agree more. It's worth doing. It really is. It shows respect to the people you're speaking to. It shows respect to yourself. And it clears the air of, the mystery of like, oh, well, is Horatius saying this as a fact? Is he saying this as an opinion? Is it a little bit of both, as is so often the case? Yeah, I think it's important to own your biases. Can you filter out your biases? Yes, kind of. But you have to remember that biases are not a bad thing inherently. How they are wielded is good and bad. And that's what we're talking about right here with these loops, right? However, as with anything, an adaptive behavior can become maladaptive. When this happens, we see these loops become less about helping us travel with ease through our day-to-day life, and more about imprisoning us into lockstep. Aren't you doing an anecdotal agreement that way? An anecdotal argument? Yes. And anecdotes are good. I may have a bias for Hora as my favorite dwarf VTuber. I am the first male VTuber, and I will be the last of all of the VTubers. But I will say that I am not the most dwarven of all of the dwarf VTubers. I love the term maladaptive. It makes it clear that some things are normal but become not so good when applied in a non-optimal way. Correct! We're human. You guys are human. We're flawed through our perceptions. You guys are. And other avenues. Everything we put in the world, either internally or externally, have an inescapable tough of that. Yep. Touch of that. Yep. Absolutely. We are a collection of our experiences and biases. Thanks. I like your answer. I'll always try that. But it feels like nobody listens and nobody seems to do the same. So it's just going through the high road no matter what, or do I give up about trying to be truthful? Sorry, big question. I know. It's a totally legit question, Patty. And the honest answer is, if it brings you happiness, you should do it. Just because doing something is harder than it could be, that doesn't mean you shouldn't put in the effort. In my opinion, because, like, I'll say this, right? There's a lot of times where I don't go through the rigmarole of being like, well, in my opinion, X, Y, and Z. Or, well, understanding that I'm a little bit biased here, but A, B, C. You don't have to always do that, right? You can look to context to see if it's necessary or not. If you're speaking to people you don't know. If you're speaking to people that don't know your credibility, right? Like, that's why in this lecture, I start with my credentials, right? Because I could go through this entire lecture saying, it is in my professional understanding that a cognitive loophole is blah, 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 blah. It is in my professional understanding that availability heuristics is blah, 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 blah. It is in my professional blah, 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 blah. You get the idea, right? I can labor myself with all of that. But if at the start of it, you just lay it all out and say, understand that everything we're going to say from moving forward is mainly fact, but I'm going to do my best. I ain't an expert, but, well, the thing is, I am an expert in this. I know what I'm talking about. But no, I hear you, Broth. Yes, that is a good thing to say. And people should be more comfortable saying that, because humility is not a bad thing. And Patty, I would ask you, as a stranger on the internet, I would ask you to try and do that. Because even if other people don't, do you know what makes people do it? By changing the cultural and societal norms, starting with the self. If you wish to see more people engage in these practices, then you must normalize it. Okay, actually, everyone in chat, do me a favor. What is a term or a meme or a verbal stem or a thing that you hear somebody say that you didn't say, but you heard someone say it so much that it leaked into your lexicon and now you say it? Mid, great example. Sus, totes. That slaps. Moist, I'm not saying that one, Crim. Natch instead of naturally. Jesus Christ. Totes, yeah. Question. I may be off topic but eye contact is super hard for me to keep a conversation. I get overwhelmed, and while doing other things like VTubing and not showing my actual face, I'm totally fine. Ginger, that is a big statement and a big question. I would recommend you talk to a mental health professional about that, because that's very real. You can get better at it, and you don't have to. Mosquito. Man. Got. Yeah. Right? Instead of yeah or agreed. Yep. Wife. Whoops. All right. So the short answer is loops are both, and they can switch between good or bad based on how they affect us at any given time in our lives. I got that one from you? Yeah. Yeah, I do this thing called what we call a verbal nod, right? So I just did it right there. When people are talking, I will say things to let them know that I'm listening. And that's why I'm saying that. And then you have things like, when I'm talking about this stuff, right? So that right at the end of the sentence, that's me prompting you guys to verbal nod to me. I'm prompting you guys to say something to let me know that you're listening. You also, my man. We don't do know you here. We do you also. If someone gives you a compliment, you don't say, no, you.
I'm here.
You say, you also. Because they're also probably awesome. Or whatever they said to you. Ears are flapping and we're listening. Thank you. So, what are the physiological aspects of loops? When a loop is being adaptive, and of help to us, they can affect our body by providing good homeostasis, which our bodies crave at all times. Wait, did I say this? No, okay, that hasn't happened yet. When a loop is maladaptive, it is going to lead us to experience higher levels of neurological stress. Our anxiety can creep up more easily, and our depressive symptoms can manifest. It can also cause you to feel trapped or confined with no hope to break the mold of your own creations. It can manifest as a sense of loneliness or even mania. So here's just a simple little graphic. I feel attacked by this entire chart. Yep. These are things that higher levels of stress can do, and if you are experiencing these maladaptive loops, they can cause higher levels of stress, such as dry mouth, fatigue, muscle tension, rashes on your skin, an upset digestive tract, increased blood pressure, heart palps, headaches, and insomnia, and many, many more. A really good book called The Body Keeps the Score, all about this. Yeah. Experience a hard one from stress, minus 20 out of 10. Don't recommend. Yeah. Live by teaching myself forgiveness. I love that, Kethel. Here's a recent search recent research that I looked into. The intertwining the social and the cognitive loops. Socially inactive cognition for human compatible interactive systems. It is increasingly important for technical systems to be able to interact flexibly, robustly, and fluently with humans in the real-world scenarios. However, while current AI systems excel at narrow task competencies, they lack crucial interaction abilities for the adaptive and co-constructed social interactions that humans engage in. We argue that a possible avenue to tackle the corresponding computational modeling challenges is to embrace interactive theories of social understandings in humans. We propose the notion of sociologically inactive cognitive systems that we do not solely rely on abstract or quasi-complete internal models for separate social perception, reasoning, and action. By contrast, socially inactive cognitive agents are supposed to enable a close interlinking of the inactive socio-cognitive processing loops within each agent and the social communicative loop between them. We discuss the theoretical foundations of this view, identify principles and requirements for according computational approaches, and highlight 3 examples of our own research that showcase the interaction abilities achievable in this way. What the hell does that mean? So, let's imagine you're building a shed. It's a smart shed. It's got technology in it that detects your preferences and automatically sets the interior of your shed to be exactly what you want it, right? Now, check this out. So, let's say a simple example would be it detects the temperature outside is hot. Your shed immediately turns the AC on when you walk in, right? Well, what they're talking about here is recognizing that loops are not perfect and that you need to be able to break them even when it comes to things like AI. And this is not generative AI. This is like computational AI, right? It's receive a stimuli, output a thing, right? So, wet shed, smart shed. What shed is next? True. So, in this instance, we have a shed that... don't. Ew. In fact, shed analogy over. So. Oh no, I forgot this slide. Okay, anyway, we're just going to talk about loops. You guys can ignore what's on the slide because I didn't do this one. Oh my god. I ran out of time and I forgot these 2 slides. All right, so we're just going to talk about it, okay? So, you're in a loop. What do you do? All right? First things first, you have to identify that you are in fact in a loop, and you achieve this by introspection. Say it with me, everybody. Introspection. What is introspection? Introspection is the process by looking at your own individual thoughts and processes and behaviors and seeing why you do those things. Okay? So you introspect. You guys have done this today a couple of times where you look at these things that I've described to you and you go, hey, that's a thing that relates to me. I do that. And then you looked into why you do that. Or that you do that, and then then I gave you the words to describe why you do that. These different biases and loops. So, you identify that you're in a loop, right? You break down the value of that loop. Is it valuable that I always go to the same 7-Eleven and I always get an Arizona iced tea and I always get a Coke Zero and then I go Hey, Bino! The greatest adventure is what lies ahead. Today and tomorrow are yet to be said. The chances, the changes are all yours to make. The mold on your life is in your hands to break. The greatest adventure is there if you're bold. Let go of the moments that life makes you hold. To measure the meaning can make you delay. It's time you stop thinking and wasting the day. Welcome in, everybody. Bino, thank you for the raid. I deeply appreciate the support, dear. Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Horatius the Dwarf. Allow me to do a little bit of an introduction. We're doing a Psychology 102 lecture. This one is about cognitive loopholes. Yeah, that was so sick. Thanks. I sing a lot. I like to sing. We're in the middle of a lecture right now. Welcome on in, everybody. I hope you guys enjoy your time in here today. I hope that you guys had a wonderful time on your stream, Bino. I hope we got a shout out for you. And this is just some credentials about why I'm talking about psychology on my stream. Once per month, we do a psychology lecture. I'm a mental health professional. I work in the field of mental health in the education sector. I like how Alarm isn't disabled. Yeah, because I'm a funny guy. I have over 7 years of experience, nearly 8 now. I'm currently employed as a special education teacher. I have experience with all these different things, and I am not licensed to be your mental health professional, but I am a mental health professional. Krinos, thank you for the follow. Welcome on into the mountain home. Just a reminder that these are why we do these things. We've talked about what the pre-lecture quiz is. We've described what a cognitive loophole is. Cognitive loopholes, just as a brisk reminder, are basically, it's every time you have a thought or a behavior that gives you a certain stimuli, you do the same thing every single time. I was so ready to be dwarf pilled. I got you, gamer. So essentially, every time you do something, you do the same thing again. And you're very welcome. Thank you. So like in math, 1 + 1 is 2 every time, right? Unless you're doing like theoretical maths. But in this instance, we're talking about how behavior is not so predictable. But sometimes we form these loops. And we talked about the many different types of YouTubes. I was reading chat when I was supposed to be speaking. The many different types of loops that there are, such as availability heuristics like anthropocentric thinking, anthropomorphism, salience bias, attentional biases. Yeah, well, Kira, it's because we're actually streaming to YouTube right now. We also have the confirmation biases of the backfire effect, the experimenter's bias or expectation bias. We have selective perception. We have their observer expectancy effects. We also have the egocentric biases of the bias blind spot, the Forer effect or the Barnum effect. We have the illusion of control, the trait ascription bias, the third person effect. We have the self-assessment loop, such as the Dunning-Kruger effect, the hard-easy effect, imposter phenomenon, and the objectivity illusion. We did a little pop quiz where people discussed and described what of these loops they experience in their own life right now, and what were those like. And we currently were just finishing up the topic of, are loops good or bad? We came to the determination that loops are not inherently good or bad. We make them, and our brains are predisposed to making loops to save us cognitive workload. It's useful for us to make these loops. It's almost required. So they can be good, but they could become maladaptive, in which case they're more like self-made prisons that lock us into doing the same thing every time, even if it's not helpful for us to do so. Who think they could 1v1 a gorilla, but probably can't. I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole gorilla versus man thing, but the reality is, I still think most people could 1v1 a gorilla. I also think that like the whole 100 people versus one gorilla is laughable. I think that if you need more than 3 people to fight a gorilla and win, you're doing it wrong. Or you're just getting intimidated, which is totally fine. That's how gorillas fight. But anyway, I don't want to get all up in it. Depends on tool availability. It actually doesn't. It really doesn't. If you have 3 people, right, for a 3-person group fighting a gorilla, you just throw meat at the thing. You throw your bodies at it, and then you gouge its eyes out. Like, it's just flesh and bone, like everybody else. Anyway, I don't want to get into the barbarism of fighting a gorilla to the death. But we discussed yeah, exactly. We hunted mammoths. Like, we'll figure it out. What are the physiological aspects of loops? We talked about how loops, generally speaking, are all about homeostasis. They bring us a sense of stability. But when they become maladaptive, that is when they increase our stress levels. And we talked about how stress can affect the body through a multitude of ways depicted in the visual infographic on the stream. We recently discussed the recent research done by Cal and Stephen Kopp. Sebastian Kahl and Stefan Kopp, which is talking about how our understanding of cognitive loops can impact how we train AI to integrate with the more complicated aspects of like AI to human interaction. Do you think you could fight a gorilla, huh? I know I could. I wouldn't want to. I don't want to, but I know that I could. And we're gonna move on. So, I forgot to change these slides, so we're just talking a little bit open-ended about how we can address loops. So we talked about, you guys literally rated us, Bino, when we were discussing that you have to introspect, which is the process of looking at your own behaviors and actions and thoughts and say, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And then looking to those reasons as finding your loops. I just walked into a store and I walked out with a Coke and a waffle. I always get a Coke and a waffle. Why do I always get a Coke and a waffle? Why am I always buying Cokes and waffles? You think about it and you're like, oh, because when I was a kid, my dad told me to always get Coke because we're a Coke house, not a Pepsi house. And I had this my first date with a beloved, partner when I was a kid in my teenage years, well, we went and got waffles. And so I like waffles. And because of my experience with my dad, I like Coke. So now I understand why I always get Coke and waffles, right? So now that you've identified that you are in fact in a loop, what do? Well, you identify if you break that loop down, and figure out if that loop is beneficial or not. Odds are it probably is. But if it's not beneficial, you figure out how you can mold that loop to be helpful, right? So let's say, going back to my analogy about always going to the store and buying a drink and a snack. It's like 2 times a week on the way home from work. Well, stopping every, twice a week is not probably the best thing for me, wallet-wise. But if I do it, I can also make sure that I'm buying healthier snacks. So I can just adapt my loop to change what I'm getting, that it's healthier. Maybe I'll get a juice and, some crackers, or, like one of those like peanut butter cracker bags. You know what I'm talking about? Like the orange squares with the peanut butter in the middle. Like, you get that instead of like a Slim Jim or, a pack of, 600 calorie chips or something. You know what I mean? So you adapt, you change your loop to make you better. The little answer, yeah. What do you do when someone else is in a loop? Now, I'm going to pull up
from a shocking video of
I don't actually want to listen to you. So, loops are like whirlpools, okay? Right? So when you're in a whirlpool and a whirlpool is pulling you down, do you know what the worst thing to do is? To fight and try and push out of the whirlpool. If you want to break out of a whirlpool, you push with, let me because physics, and I'm not getting into it, but you push with the spiral, and then you use the momentum and the speed that the pull gives you to shoot out. Okay? So you go with it, and then you shoot out. It's like It's the same physics behind leaving orbit, right? You go with the orbit until you use it to rocket yourself out. You don't resist. And so if someone is in a loop and you see that they're in a loop that is not good for them, right? Like every Friday they go out and they get wicked drunk, right? Do you know what you do? You don't say, hey, we're having an intervention because you drink too much every Friday. No, you go out with them and you slowly encourage them to healthier habits. Say, hey, how about let's go out. We'll go out together, right? And then we'll go out together and then, I'm feeling pretty good. You seem like you're pretty good. Let's go ahead and call it early night. We'll go back. We'll watch a movie at my place or something, I'll buy the Uber, You try and help them curb their habits by showing them a softer side of things. So we use the loop's momentum to help them get out of the loop. Correct. You embrace the loop with them and then use the normality of the loop, and then you change the trajectory of the loop until you no longer have to have a hand in it. I'm not saying you should go and manipulate your friend's behavior. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you see your friends doing stuff that's harmful to them, the better method is to helping them find their own path out. Do not grab them and rip them out of their loop, because that's going to be traumatic. They're going to resist you probably. So slamming the brakes, you give them a different road to drive. Exactly. All right. So let's talk about why loops are important. Loops are everywhere. You literally cannot avoid them. You got to just hold those loops. As we talked about before, loops are not always a bad thing, and they can even be a needed part of our life's day-to-day functioning, right? That also doesn't give them a higher chance of relapse. Correct! I have worked in addiction counseling. Don't cold turkey people. All right. Slaps roof of bowl. This bad boy could fit so many loops. Thank you for the stretch. So let's talk about a shed. Thank you for joining us. So we talked about this before. Loops are not always a bad thing, right? So we have these loops for a reason. Loops have power. Loops are really just a method by which we make sense of the world around us. Cognitive function is one of the most calorie-intensive actions a person can engage in. So our brain has designated the tendency to create loops to reduce the workload of the brain for future situations that it recognizes. Although we do a medical talk, not technically. This is psychology. But yes. My dad cold turkeyed smoking, but the motivation came from him from the start. Right, yeah. Cold turkeying can work. Cold turkeying can work, but it's not the same thing. It's in the same line. So let's talk about building a shed, right? If you build a shed, and you learn how to build a shed, and you build a good shed, you're going to keep building that same shed. Let's say I ask you to build me 10 sheds. Believe it or not, most of those 10 sheds are going to be pretty similar. It's different when you're forcing yourself than forcing someone. Correct. So when you're building a shed, you're going to use the same angles because that's what's normal. That's you're acclimated to building things the same way. That pattern recognition makes the work easier because you know it. It's familiar. Muscle memory is loops. Muscle memory is loops. Blow your mind out. So, why are we talking about loops? Okay? Loops are a part of our lives, and we need to learn and understand how to best utilize them for our own self-benefit. Moreover, we need to learn when they can be harmful and restrictive to us so we can outplay them and return them to function. So if I want you all to identify the loops you have in your life and make sure that they're there for your help, or if they aren't, it's time to reconstruct them to help rather than to hinder. And this is an important thing. It's why it's bolded, but also cut off by the window because I don't know how to structure things. Even if it is more comfortable to stay in your loop, if you recognize that a loop is bad for you, you need to change your loop. Fix your damn loops. Welcome in, Soundring. Sondring. Thank you, Scarlet Serpent. Hello. Our industrial world is based around being good at making things a lot of the same thing. Yep. So, a little quote from me. Escaping the loop is to simply place yourself on a loop that is larger than your current perceptions. If you think you've broken out of a loop, check this out. Was literally talking to me about loops this week, and now I'm making progress in mine after years of doing the caretaker thing. Let's go! Congrats, Kay. So escaping the loop is simply to just go into a bigger one. Fix your damn loops. Fix your loops! If your loops don't work, fix them. If they're not working for you, fix them. I don't care if it's comfortable. Fix your damn loops. Can I get that added as a quote? Can a mod add that as a quote of fix your damn loops? Call me Toucan Sam because I'm loopy for loops. So, post-lecture quiz time, buckos. Hold on. Yeah, that's good. All right. Video artists, when they want to do Riptology, fix your loop. All right. What even is a cognitive loophole? Answer in the chat. What is a loophole? What is a cognitive loophole? Or, as I've been referring to them, a loop. Explain to me that you understand what a loop is. In fact, I'm going to go get a cup of water while you guys answer the first question. You guys, when I get back, I want to be able to read what people are saying a loop is. Oh, old man body. All right. Loop and a habit. Different name for the same thing? Shortcut to the mind to process the world around it. Taking shortcuts. A loop is a subconscious thing that your brain has wired based off of previous connections and experiences. A mind routine akin to muscle memory. Autopilot. Mental shortcut for you to follow. Anyone using the term shortcut, you guys are more aptly describing what is called a schema. Very, very similar. Very, very similar. A loop, habit, in the Socratic sense, something you do actually kind of automatically if you don't exert yourself to do otherwise. Loops can be good. Have a tendency to approach, handle, in a way that's familiar to self-soothe. All right, these are some very solid understandings of loops. There's one thing that I'm not seeing here that I want to put out, and that is that a loop is fundamentally what you do when presented with the same stimuli repeatedly. That's the big thing. A loop is what you do when you are given a stimuli, and that is often what you do.
Rock and stone!
Mouse Ferratu, incredible name, welcome in. A learned cognitive reactor. Your default response, that's not a bad way to put it. I think it's a loop, yep. Often feel overwhelming because I can't slot them into a loop. Correct! Because you're making a loop, and making loops is cognitively intensive. All right, question 2. Why do these loops form? And are they helpful? Why do we loop? Chat, why do we do loops? And if someone says the thing, they're going to get a free gift sub. Comfort, great answer. Very simple, very good answer. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Familiarity, great answers. Homeostasis, good. That's a very good textbook answer. Thinking is expensive. Self-soothing. Making new decisions is hard. Safety, protection. Yes, 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 yes. Excelsior. Learning because of how we socialize, taught, feel. True, 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 true. When you press C left and pull back on the control stick of Star Fox. Reduce cognitive load. Correct. They can be helpful. They can be harmful too. To prevent overheating. Yep. Because of several factors. It feels more comfortable to you. Okay. Yeah. The meme I was going to say was because it's easy. And it does a lot of damage. That's why we loop. But these are all incredible answers, actually. Well done. Alright. What role does my biases play? I hate that you made that reference work. You said easy? Yes. But you didn't say easy, and it does a lot of damage. You did say easy, though, Heidi. You did good. Bro, I ain't trying to live that Dark Souls lifestyle IRL. Too bad, baby. Every time you go to bed, that's a bonfire. Did I pass? You're doing great, Meow. You're doing great. So what role do our biases play in these loopholes? I'll be honest, this is a tricky question. This one's going to request some critical thinking skills because I didn't answer it explicitly. Biases may make you unaware of a loop. This is just how it's done. Restraint, changing a loop. That's how you do it. Very good answers, Atheo. Biases make us dismiss our introspection. Let's go! Someone gift Patty a sub. That was fucking awesome. Great answer. We generally think that we're correct, so do our shortcuts. Let's be right and correct and smart. Follow the group sometimes. Yes. Actually, yes, as well. Thank you, Aoife.
Aoife Mackay gifted a tier 1 sub to Paddy XX Fish. They have given 22 gift subs in the channel.
Alright. What is my role when I notice someone else's loops? What is my role when I see someone else's loops? Traditions are loops? Yeah, they are. Eat them? Okay. The loops? Oh, okay. Yeah. Good. Embrace it and steer them. Yep. Slowly try to use their loop to form a more beneficial loop. Yes. Enter the loop and help them steer it more beneficial. Absolutely. To guide them without force for a better habit. Love this. Great answers, everyone. You guys are getting gold stars. If they're good loops, encourage. If they're bad loops, lead them into other loops. It depends. If it's not my business, leave them alone. If not, tell them about it. Yeah, that's not a bad approach. Help remove doubt. Take the loop, understand it, move them into the right direction, and then eat the loop. Make them fight a gorilla. Great answer. It's a good meme. All right. Last question. When and with what skills can I address my loops? When and with what skills can I address my loops? Introspection, correct. Self-forgiveness? Yes, that's a very good one, Kethel. We're on question 4? No, we're on question 5. Coding is a reachable breakpoint. Mm-hmm. Reflection, journaling, thinking about. Yes. Introspection every time, everywhere. Thinking inward and finding ways to break bad habits, break out of the comfort zone. Yes, without judgment, absolutely. Communication, asking others, helping communicate. Yep, yes. Oh, sorry, computer science, not science. Remember to work outside your brain and biases to gain a better perspective. Yeah, and impeccable answers, everyone. All right, you guys did a great job with the post-lecture quiz. It's time for the bonus quiz. I myself have conducted 4 additional questions. These questions are fundamentally about what was on the slides. Yes, on the slides. I will be asking 4 questions. If you all get all 4 answers right, or whoever gets the most answers right, will get a gift sub. All right? Whoever gets the most right. If there's a tie, we'll break the tie. All right. So, Gorilla, great guess. There are 4 questions. The first one is, what shape was the man throwing balls? What shape was the man that was throwing balls? Save your answer. Round, okay. Ovoid, I like that. Circle, okay. All right. Now, moving on. Let's save our answers until all of the questions are said. I should have said that earlier. That's on me. You guys get the first one for free, okay? So save your answers. Save your answers. And then submit all of them at once, okay? So for those of you who are participating in this part of the quiz, write down round and then like a slash or a comma or something, okay? How many yellow arrows were there in the lecture? How many yellow arrows were there in the lecture? Cap, stop answering in chat. Save your answers together. Save your answers together. Oop, I was in the wrong class for the first half. It's okay. It's okay. I understand that some of you guys are kind of at a disadvantage. People on YouTube, people on Twitch can do that too. That's why we're doing it quickly, because you won't be able to cheat. All right. So, the first question is, what was the shape of the man throwing balls? The second question was, how many yellow arrows were there? How many yellow arrows? Third question, how many brown/green arrows were there? How many brown/green arrows? And then the last question was, what game was on the scales? What game was on the scales? I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds. And then when I say post, drop your answers. I should be getting 4 answers. One of them is a shape. The middle 2 will be numbers. And the last one will be the name of a video game. So it'll be shape/number/number/game title. Does everyone understand? I'm going to give you 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Post. All right. All right. Okay. The answers are... The man throwing the balls was round. There were 4 yellow arrows in the lecture. There were 4 yellow arrows. There were 2 brown and green arrows. 2 brown-green arrows. And the game on the scales was Loop Hero. So, Luigi Fan, as far as I can tell, is the only person to have gotten all 4 questions correct. And so, Willow, my dear, could you please gift a sub to Luigi Fan 64? Luigi's already subbed. Luigi, you can pick someone to receive your sub. I don't know how else to give that to you. I'm so sorry. Write down and give them whenever it runs out. I will forget, Kethel. I'll be 100% with you. I will not remember. All right, once Luigi Fan tells us who's getting the sub. Hi, Brandon. Welcome in. All right, Luigi. Cast someone into the sub club.
Hello.
Hi, Eden. We can give it to Soup. Okay. Willow, would you please gift a sub to Soups in Solidarity? Let me guess. My wife's not here. There it is. Thank you, love.
Rock and stone.
Willow the wife gifted a tier 1 sub to Soup in Solidarity. They have
Congratulations.
given 2 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you, love. I thought you went and made lunch or something. It's lunchtime. All right, so heads up, everybody. In June, our lecture will be on about mental health in the workplace. Here are some of the other topics that we have for the rest of the year. We've done cognitive loopholes. We've covered ego. We'll talk about the psychology of video games. We'll talk about personalities, eating disorders, cognitive distortions, relationships, and mania. Let's see. Actually, let me go to this list. I have it on the whiteboard. All right, June, we're talking about mental health in the workplace. In July, we're doing eating disorders. In August, we're doing cognitive distortions. In September, we're doing the psychology of video games. In October, we're doing narcissism. In November, we're doing personality disorders. And in December, we're talking about the psychology of gift giving. Introduce me to cognitive distortions. I am intrigued. Yes, I really like that game. I wish that I could tolerate playing visual novels. All right, so we're going to open up the Q&A. You guys can go ahead and ask whatever your questions are. How's your day going? Going good. Hi, Hedge. Someone on YouTube had a question. When's the Mania lecture? Probably next year. What if your loop is not bad for you? Then leave it alone. Should I bother breaking out of the loop? Nope. If loops are good, loops are good. Leave the loop be. Why do we exist, just to suffer? Because pain is life, dog. Will there be a VOD? Yes! Starting now, I am multi-streaming to YouTube. This will be on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. Go sub to the YouTube channel. Glad I found this channel. Do you stream between lectures? Yes, I stream every Saturday and Sunday morning at 10 a.m. EST. Saturdays tend to be gaming themed, and Sundays tend to be psychology themed. Pain is a luxury reserved for the living. True. To know pain is to live. You've got a year to practice my Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. Incredible. Sweet, thanks. I'm subbed to your YouTube now. Yay! Would you rather feel pain or fight a silverback? I feel like you're going to get pain in either of those situations. Gotta go. Thanks for the stream. Catch you on YouTube probably. Patty, thank you so much for coming by, man. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the mountain home. Take care of yourself, so I'll see you later. Ugh. All right. All right, let's take it down a peg. How does this tie into something like cult deprogramming? It does. Maybe off topic, any tips for getting a therapist? Yes, Google search mental health professionals in your area code, and then your area code, and look up people, look up their credibility, look and see if people dig them or not. Private practices are risky, but you can find some of the best people there. Was that a gun tank? Yes, it was. I love gun tank. It's my favorite mobile suit. Post lecture clarity. Oop. We love a good gun tank. True. The one. I did answer that. Maybe acknowledge the loop. Yeah. Horatius is a mental health professional, but he is not your mental health professional. Correct. Forgot to raise hand on a question. My bad. Should I resend? No, I'll just look it. What are the ways one can approach breaking down an unhealthy loop that is fixed, tied to doubt, but involving things you feel others don't see is so difficult to ask others? Get a mental health professional and have them guide you through that. Which is, I'm sorry that is such like a limp answer to the question, but if it is that intense, my recommendation is to bring in a specialist. Bring someone who knows how to do that. Nah, that's a good answer. I know. But still, it can be it can be an underwhelming answer, right? Sometimes these questions, hi Faye, you missed the lecture, hon, but it'll be on YouTube. You can check it there. Where's my dog at? I want to hang out with my dog. A successful male VTuber. You are a rarity, my friend. Well, Tharsis, let me level with you, dog. I'm the first male VTuber. Horatius the Dwarf, nice to meet you. You can call me Mr. Silverstone. Yeah, I'm awesome, is the thing. And it took me 4.5 years to get here. Hold on, you're a VTuber? Barely. I know one other thing maybe is currently on hiatus. That means that you guys don't know who Cabal is. Can I get a shout out for Cabal, please? Can we talk about Cabal for a minute? One of my favorite male VTubers. You call a plumber for your pipes. You call a mental health professional for your brain. Yeah. But you could also fix your own plumbing problems if they're not that complicated. Wait, I thought you were a stocky Norwegian man this whole time. No. Mrs. Silverstone, first of the male VTubers, diplomat of Yalzar, keeper of the Shed Masteries, the holder of the damn mental health degree, and he earned that shit. He earns it every damn day. Like, you just look like that with the Instagram filter on. Nah. That's Cabal. If you want to see one of the other successful male VTubers, I highly recommend Cabal. He is incredible. That reminds me, have you heard of Babaniku streamers, Hora? Male VTubers that use female models and vice versa. Yeah, I know of them, like Porcelain Maid. Cabs of VTuber. Yeah, barely. Highly encourage checking out Cab 10 out of 10. I can't help but wonder how close your model is to IRL appearance. I don't know. There are some people in this chat that have met me. How would you guys describe my IRL appearance? I would say it's the fucking same. I should have been here for the lecture. It's alright, Izzy. I'm glad that you're here now. Close, 9 out of 10. A 1-to-1. Big recommendation from me, too. Cab's awesome and highly entertaining. I'm one close. Very close. I walked into the room and knew it was him immediately. Based on video, pretty damn similar. Yeah. The only difference is that my hair is not white yet. Everywhere. Oh. Hello, Isabella.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Good. Just having some post-lecture clarity. Amused Bengal will come in.
It's Bengal. Or Bengal. Hi, everybody. Hi. I sound so much better today.
You do sound really good. I love this little cute action pose reactive. It's really cute.
Thank you. How was the lecture?
Good.
I'm a little sad that I wasn't here.
Well, that's why.
Because I feel like I could have benefited from it.
Well, it's the lecture is going to be on the YouTubes, and it is going to be viewable there.
Where can I find this YouTubes? Perchance, do you have a link?